Let's dive into a simple, but honestly, a super powerful idea today. The belief that these tiny, almost unnoticeable daily habits can completely, and I mean completely, transform your life. Now, that sounds like a huge claim, I know, but stick with me and let's see how it actually works. So, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? That constant feeling of just being too busy, too swamped to learn a new skill or read a book or even just work on yourself a little bit? It's a feeling we all know, right?
And you know where that no time feeling usually leads us? Yeah, right here. Mindlessly scrolling through our phones, feeling like we're just stuck in place, watching the hours literally disappear without getting any closer to our goals. It's frustrating.
But what if that cycle could actually be broken? I want to share a real story with you about someone who did just that. They turned those wasted moments into a launchpad for some pretty incredible growth. You see, the change itself was, well, it was surprisingly simple. A friend of mine was in that exact scrolling trap, always saying he didn't have time to get better at his English. So he made one small switch. He replaced just 30 minutes of scrolling each day with listening to podcasts and reading. That's it. That was the only change he made.
And this is where you can really see the power of compounding in action. I mean, the change wasn't dramatic at first, but after about 3 months, his confidence was starting to build. By 6 months, his English skills were clearly, noticeably better. And today, well, that one small habit led him to a job where English is absolutely essential. It wasn't a sprint, it was just a steady, consistent walk forward.
So, what was the secret sauce here? It wasn't some sudden burst of genius or a lucky break. Nope, it was something way more reliable. Something that every single one of us can tap into. Let's break down the principle that made this whole transformation possible. It really just comes down to the difference between motivation and habits. Look, motivation is fantastic. It's that spark that gets you to the starting line. But it's fleeting, isn't it? It comes and goes. Habits are the engine. They're what reliably keep you moving forward, especially on those days when motivation is just nowhere to be found. And this right here, this is the core message. It's the absolute key to unlocking your own growth. It's not about being the most talented person in the room. It's about being the most consistent. The simple act of just showing up day in and day out with those tiny little steps is what creates monumental change over time. It's that simple.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how do we actually do this? How do we turn this inspiration into real action? Well, it's simpler than you might think. It all boils down to a really simple 3-step plan you can start using like today.
First, start small. And I mean it, don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just choose one tiny, totally manageable change. Second, stay consistent. This is the most important part, for sure. The real power isn't in the size of the action, it's in the daily repetition. And finally, you have to believe. You have to trust the process. Have faith that these small deposits you're making in yourself will eventually compound into something incredible.
And that brings us to the last and maybe the most important question, the one for you. Look, it could be learning a language, exercising, reading, meditating, literally anything at all. So take a moment and just ask yourself, what is the one small, consistent change you're going to make? What is your 30 minutes?